Welcome to a new Paradigm of Education podcast. Today I'm here with a very special guest. Her name is Mia Munro. I'll introduce her in just a moment. A new Paradigm of Education is all about collaboration. It's a global vision of helping humanity where educators across the world hold hands, whether it's parents, whether it's business owners, coaches, mentors, anybody who cares about the next generations of children and students in this world is here as part of the new Paradigm of Education. So it is with such an honor that I welcome Mia Munro today as our special guest to this podcast. She is my mentor, amazing mentor. She's also my friend, and she's the inventor or the creator of the Human Re-invention formula. She's also written a few international selling books, which is Sacred Rebel, the Human Re-invention formula, and Fearless Presence. And she runs different types of programs within her Human Re-invention formula that she will go through with us. She's the global ambassador for, which is called 414 to help child trafficking as well. So she's done a diverse range of work within education. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us, Mia. And I'd love to hear your introduction of who you are as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, beautiful. It's lovely to do this together today, and it's been quite a journey that we've had together, and with so many blessings and so many rewards for not only us, but also the people that you're helping. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. When you ask me about my vision, I guess, I think wonder where do I start and where do I go? Because I've been in this field for a long time now. Over 17 years, I've committed my life to really being a disruptor and an innovator in the space of shifting paradigms around education for adults, and also impacting the lives of many children through my philanthropy work. One of the biggest visions that came to me recently was after a major trauma in my life. I started to recognize that perhaps one of the gifts I've been given has been to move through trauma, and that perhaps that's the testimony of the trauma I've been through, and create pathways for humans that are really suffering and are wanting to sort of reset their lives and reinvent themselves. So I started really considering taking human transformational work, and I started to see that it was getting stagnant, the industry, and wanted to be one of those people that shook it up. Not an easy role to play, but something that I knew I needed to do. When I started looking around with the thousands and thousands of beautiful humans I've worked with throughout my life, I started to see one common theme. And that theme is that I believe that over 99% of humans are actually operating with stored trauma. And we know that the terminology hurt people. So rather than continuing to think that the solutions and strategies we're using out there in our systems are working, we have to be honest and say they're not. And I think education was one of those areas. So certainly the paradigm of education needs to change, both in the area of human transformation, but also for our beautiful kids. And I think it was when we came together, actually, Monique, where we had a very powerful session where we brought through together your powerful vision of the new paradigm of education. So this is a very special moment to be here together.
Yes.
and go, wow, this is happening. So I'm very, very excited about that. I was called in 2019 to write a new book. I've written a few books now, but this one was at a time where I thought, really, do I really need to write another book? And I got a yes. And that one's called the Human Re-invention formula. And that really is the entire process that I've used in my own life and helped many, many thousands of people around the world to reevaluate life, activate life, unpack, disrupt and upgrade, move forward to building community, which I believe is part of the new paradigm of education, and also find a way to expand without burnout and expand for a more sustainable future for all of us. And that book really, that's on Amazon, it's an international bestseller, but that book was the beginning of my paradigm shift, one of many, but the next one that's put me on the journey to building the Human Re-invention Academy, which is where I'm at now.
I love what you share. And I think one of the best downloads that I've received from Mia through her work is the energy of the 5D, and then bringing that down into the 3D. And that really does define what I believe is the paradigm shift that's already there. Did you want to go into maybe a little bit more about that and how that could help educators? Because I know a lot of educators, with a lot of educators or parents even, are still kind of, you know, grinding and doing the daily work, you know, at the 3D level, and just not really knowing what to do, feeling stuck. And I think one of the most powerful things I've learned from you is how can I bring that beautiful love and light into what I'm doing currently, and then allow that to help me to help the children and help, you know, whoever I want to help in the world. That would be awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. And that concept has evolved with my understanding. Even since I first shared it. My understanding on a human level is that, you know, this third dimensional level, this physical level that we live in, it has a lot of suffering in it. It has a lot of density, demands. I feel it's where our minds, and I like to refer to the ego mind, sort of pulls us into systems and programs. And I don't think that's really serving us. Yes, we still live in a physical world and we need to pay our rent and make money and feed ourselves and look after our bodies. But I think it's very limiting. So a lot of people are talking at the moment about this concept of waking up. And I think what's really they're talking about is we're so much more than that. We are these extraordinary, we've got goosebumps, we are these extraordinary beings, and our capacity, we're not even operating anywhere near our full capacity. So once we understand, or perhaps even consider the concept that we are operating in a way that's very limited for a great human experience in this one lifetime round that we have, then it makes me very curious about how I can help people live more or experience more. And so I believe a lot of things happen in the world, and this perhaps was also a coping strategy, that, you know, when terrible things happen, and I've had a bit of a run of them, that they bring in an opportunity to expand out of programs and out of systems. I think if we look at our systems right now, I think we can all agree that they're collapsing. So to stay in the system and hold on to it with our dear life is probably not a very smart thing to do. So I love to encourage people to play with some other aspects of their potentiality, aspects of themselves, aspects of what's around them. And I call that shifting paradigms or shifting dimensions, some would call it. It's moving out of, some would call it shifting your comfort zone. It's a bit more than the comfort zone. It's actually, you've probably heard of meditation and a lot of the energetic work. That's all about shifting us out of the density of here and now. So it's not escapism. We're not talking about let's escape. I know that I dreamed many times when I lived over in Thailand of being a monk on the hill and never having to be part of society. But I don't think that's really very realistic for everybody, although a lot of people are trying to do that right now by getting off grid and just escaping the system. My personal experience in those of the beautiful people I get to work with is we can actually facilitate a process with you where you can expand out of that density and you can start to shake up. So if 99% of us have had trauma of some type in our life, and we're in a system that doesn't encourage us to fully heal, then I'd suggest you've got stored trauma. Well, trying to break stored trauma and heal it in the density of third dimension is very challenging. So we want to shake things up. That's what paradigm shifts are, shaking things up. And we want to create an opportunity for you to feel something new. And what I started discovering, Monique, was that life was just getting better and better. So as I shook things up, and I was able to see some of my traumas and my struggles. And I have a formula literally that will 100% do this for everybody without fail.
Yes.
Yeah, including, yeah, Monique's been through some of that. It's like, it's not always easy, but it's like, boom, and then you see it. And so this is what we encourage. And we talk about something called our higher self. And it doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are, really, as long as you're able to access a part of you that's outside of you, but still connected to you, you can start to see things in a new way. So with that type of filter, you get to see the new world. You get to see the new paradigm of education. You get to see, for me, it's about how do I help more people post-trauma? How do I help people build their life? How do I help people up-level themselves? And then the more and more I up-level, the more I see the possibilities. And I guess I'm super passionate about doing that, or helping as many people as possible in a way that's practical, that's usable in an everyday lifestyle. It's not woo-woo off the planet that you lose yourself in it, but just help open up. I call it return to sender, return to God, the trauma, return to sender, the angst and suffering, and make a decision to live. You see, we can't live in fear and love at the same time. So we're either choosing fear or we're choosing love. And I know I say that in a simplistic way, but it's true. I want to see more humans coming from love. And I know that there's a process to that. And I know that's something that we've been able to do together as well.
Yeah, that's so beautiful that you share that. And especially in the field of education, I feel like the old paradigm doesn't really talk about love, like especially in, say, a classroom per se, which we're talking about, a small little box. The word I love is like almost a taboo word, and it's not, because it's like, how can you not love? How can you not be? And so what I really enjoy about what you're sharing is what we've shared in our book as well, is all around, well, how can we step into love? How can we step into joy? How can we step more into abundance? And how can we do that? Because we care so much about the children that we teach. And I really feel like your human reinvention formula is helping us to help ourselves. And we need to first help ourselves. Once we've helped ourselves, we can then step into full grace, full abundance to fully gift to our children, because they're already born perfect. Like, they're born so happy, so perfect.
Yeah.
We have all the trauma, like.
Yeah, they're amazing teachers for us. I think we have a responsibility as adults and parents to do the work. And I don't think it's hard work. I think it can be done in a nourishing and nurturing way. And that's always my vision, to come from a sense of love. That might be some challenge in there, but it's always coming from love. And I think it's a responsibility we have. And I believe if those little ones at the moment are in the current paradigm of physical schools and things, are coming home to parents that are coming from a place of love, then that's only going to accelerate their growth. And, with more and more homeschooling happening as well, I think, it's so important that we don't just look for the kids to be okay. I think we need to be okay, and more than okay, and in fact thriving. I want to see families thriving. I mean, I have a huge passion for families to succeed without violence, for abundance to be in every family home, so there's no one's homeless or without food. My latest project that I'm ambassador for is Generation 414, which is about providing, accessing basically craft goods that young girls who have been rescued from child sex slavery then are able to make these amazing craft things. They're then able to sell them through the internet. And we're selling gifts, at the moment, a lot of gifts online, and that then the money goes. So not only do we buy it from the girls, but then the money goes back to the girls, and then the excess money goes to organisations that support it. So there's so many ways that we can really rise up together. And I think this is a calling and a time for us to rise up together. I believe whatever field we're in, we are all in the new paradigm of education, because we're all about information. We're all here to do something powerful. And collaboration is another concept that I have to share. It has never been more important for us to get our egos out of the way and to start to come together and help each other in our chosen area with no competition, but just simply all of us have a part and a role to play. And I see a future where we're working together, where abundance is shared, where all can receive, and where we come from a place of a real solidness and commitment to love and our higher self.
I love that so much. I think I embodied that when I was writing the book, Mia, because the book shares so much about collaboration. When I started to write the book, I wrote like a sentence and then I just put the pen down and I was like, this isn't working. And then I just called in all these other beautiful educators and parents and visionaries because it just felt right to collaborate. And and through that, it was just really powerful what was shared and created together. And I wanted to ask you more about the human trafficking and the child trafficking, because I've seen some amazing documentaries that you've done and some powerful work that you've done, like in Thailand, I believe it was. Could you share more about that? Because it's really touching my heart, that area.
Yeah, it's a really nice story to share. There's something always happens in life to cause you to do some of this more confronting work. And I remember sitting on the Gold Coast. I'd built my Empowered Success company. We were looking to build it to sell. Everything was, flying. And then I came across some fraudulent activity with a business partner and I lost everything. And it was like my baby. I was helping people, look at change their mindset to invest successfully. And the next step was to start taking them over and do philanthropy. So when it all happened, I just went, there's two things. I could become a huge victim of my life, or I could get on with doing something powerful. And so I had a credit card that wasn't blocked. Everything else had been evicted. And I just booked this ticket to Thailand and went over to connect with a guy called Kerwin. So his name's just gone from it'll come in a second, with Destiny Rescue. And so I went over there and I said, look, I'd already met them. I'd already done a trip over there watching the journey of a child from being stolen in the northern Thailand to being trafficked into Pattaya or Bangkok to then being rescued out and then to be ending up in a safe house learning to make jewellery. And so I started taking groups overseas. But I knew that instead of being a victim, I just needed to do something really powerful with my life. And so I went over to Thailand. I had no idea how long I'd be there. I had no idea what I was going to do there. And I literally would go into the brothels at night time and observe what was happening. And it cracked my heart open on a very, very deep level. And I dealt with a lot of heartache, actually. It was very painful. So I did that for about a year. I ended up in Bali and finding a beautiful home to live. And I was like, right, Asia's where I want to be. I traveled through Cambodia. And so I ended up packing up everything in Australia and going back to Indonesia and setting up my life there for over 4.5 years. So this whole thing with the children, there was a hunger inside me. There was a curiosity to understand how this could even be happening in our world. And the more and deeper I got, the more helpless and hopeless I felt, because I realized it was an issue that perhaps, I wouldn't be able to do much with. And so I sought out some mentorship in the field and read every single book on the market about trafficking, and found out that for every little girl that we do save, every 26 seconds a child is sold into sexual slavery. And I thought, well, how many can we get out?
Wow.
Every 26 seconds, how many can we get out? And I changed my view and went from disempowerment to empowerment. And I made a commitment to make sure that you can probably hear the jet flying past, to make sure that every time I spoke, and I've been an international speaker for many years, that I would always raise the awareness about child trafficking. There is so much we can do. It's incredible. And yes, it can feel hopeless, but it's not hopeless to the little 6-year-old girl that sat on my knee, and that was the first night she was about to be sold. She was still a virgin. And it wasn't hopeless for the cuddles I gave her and the opportunity we had to let the team know to go in and rescue her. So I believe that we have a huge opportunity to help the children of the world, not just in Asia, but also, I'm here in Australia. We have problems here too. And so I've committed my life to doing as much as I can for the children and for the young people. I'm not in the field so much of educating the young people, but I know that my voice can be loud enough to create awareness for all children. And I haven't been blessed with my own children, so I'm committed to that being a mission, part of my mission work for the rest of my life. And Generation 414 is a really cool, accessible way that anyone can help, because all they have to do is look at the shop, find something really beautiful, and all the products are beautiful and they've done their bit. Not everyone needs to be on the front line. Not everyone needs to be doing undercover work that's not necessarily safe. We just need to be doing something. And that's my calling to anyone that's actually, listening now, is if you get a chance to do something, then it's just do something, just do one thing. And that would make a huge difference in the life of these children.
Wow, thank you. That's so powerful. What you just shared around it just being one step, one step, one step. I'm always saying that now with the new paradigm. It's like, how can you solve or how can you create a paradigm? And the answer is you can't. Like one person can't, right? It's everybody taking a little step and collaborating in the way that you were sharing, like everybody sharing their gifts. Like that is my dream. Like every child is living their dream in their gifts. Every adult is living their dream in their gifts. And there's no competition. Like all of that is done. It just astounds me now, like to even imagine a school where there is competition, because it just doesn't make sense. It's just so the old paradigm. It makes no sense. Like if everybody can just be happy and be all in their gifts, there's competition's eradicated completely. And so I just really love what you share. And I'm so grateful that we have people like you that are ambassadors, because we need humans like this in the world that do that. And of course, we'll be sharing all the information about this project in the show notes and everything as well, because it's super, super important that we can help, isn't it? So before we close for today, I'd just love to know, Mia, like if there's any way that, or any other offers that you have that could help myself as a parent, or help educators, or just help any human, anybody that's looking to make a shift within themselves. Is there anything you could offer or share with us around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've thought about this particularly for you, Monique, and supporting your community, that that you've lit the fire of this new paradigm of education, and I'm behind you all the way. And so so excited for what you've done already. If anyone is looking to expand themselves, reset, if you're suffering from any burnout or exhaustion or just uncertainty, lack of confidence, all of these aspects, I think most of us can say we've experienced at some point, and you just want to tap into some real clarity, some opening up, your ability to thrive. When we're thriving humans, magic happens. Then I wanted to offer anyone on your podcast a $1,000 scholarship towards our Thrive and Deep Dive program. So we've incorporated our a beautiful Thrive program, which you've done yourself, and our Deep Diving, which you've also done, and we've incorporated it into one program for the 2022. And but we want to make it accessible. I understand what's happening in the world, and because I do understand what's happening in the world, but I also understand my value, we're able to create an opportunity to make it a little bit easier for people to get started. And that's important that we do that at this time. So that will be available just for the beginning of 2022. So if it's something that you think, okay, well, what are these programs? Well, it's just best to make contact with me through the website, and I think we'll put our details in Re-inventionacademy.com, and make contact. And there's some free scorecards you can go and check in and find out about where you're at. There's information there, but most of all, I'm one of those people that loves connection. So if you want to have a chat, that's my favorite way of connecting, is to get on a call, because then I can find out where you're really at, and then suggest perhaps a pathway moving forward. So there is a solution if you're struggling in any way, or if you just like someone who's like, right, I want to pop and create a vision like the new paradigm of education and the Human Re-invention Academy or formula, and you're ready and you want to pop and do some big mission work, then please make contact, because we've also got a new program coming out in 2022 that will support you take those ideas, help them just completely blast off the planet. And I think, Monique, you can say from experience that program has been successful.
Yeah, I was just going to share something around an educator's perspective. We were just talking about this before, about even myself, like sometimes putting myself into a box as an educator, and then all of a sudden that's popped because of what's happened with this, paradigm shift, whether we call it the pandemic, whether we call it an energetic paradigm shift. Literally, the world has changed and all of our systems have changed completely. And from that is like, well, how do I create? What do I do? Am I stuck? What do I do? And what I really loved with Mia was it was a total debunking. So it was like, okay, let's just let go of everything. And I really feel that was the embodiment of the paradigm, just completely let go, and then completely step into that space and that grace of allowance. And from that space and that grace of allowance, that's when the service would come in. And so, yeah, I know that there's a lot of people like educators like myself that would probably also really love to work with you, Mia, just because they have like these amazing skills, but they're like, but I don't know what to do because I've only ever done it one way before, and then parents, like how many parents are at home that, with their child and they just need sleep, like that's, simple things. Like Mia is amazing. Like I could go on and on about Mia, like all the things that I've learned through her and I'll continue to learn through her. But I'm really grateful that you could jump on today with us and share, because she really is like the embodiment of a new paradigm. So we have like a human version of the paradigm shift right in front of us. So thank you so much.
Anything I can do for your community, I'm here to serve as well. And I just want to see as many humans rise up. And I believe that we need to rise up together.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in today to A New Paradigm of Education. So if you're wanting to get connected with us, we have a Facebook group, A New Paradigm of Education. You can reach us there. And I will close with Mahatma Gandhi's famous saying, which is, be the change that you wish to see in this world. Namaste.
Bye-bye.